whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today. But if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on through our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, gavin.grich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel gboot2786. All right, I'll holla. Peace.
Girl, come on. Gotta dance to the beat, cause on the dance floor is where we'll meet. Show me what you got. Gotta feel the groove.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the.
Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do, but once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the.
Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. Put on earth, wind, and fire. Tonight we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the four corners. Electric slide or two. Hit the bus stop or do the bunny hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really grooving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the.
Now 2020 hasn't been the best year of all times. We've been dealing with death, the pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you breathe and you achieve. And so if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll be.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up
and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the
floor, baby. Yeah, gotta get on. Come on, baby.
the groove, get on the floor.
All right, what's up, family? Feel the groove, get on the floor. We got to get on up. I know I said I'm never going to go live on Tuesdays again, but I couldn't help coming in tonight because I want to talk about something. It's late, but it's not that late. It's still before 12 o'clock. Y'all can roll with me for a few minutes because I'm only going to be talking about one topic tonight. Y'all, I'm not going to be long with it. I don't intend to be. Smash up the likes, smash up the likes, smash up the likes. Ladies and gentlemen, donate to the Cash App, PayPal, Zelle that you see at the bottom. Gavin Richard, Esquire, PayPal, Zelle. Ladies and gentlemen, come on in, come on, come on. Come on, come on. All right, we are hot and heavy in here, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go live and get started. Thank y'all for those that are tuning in tonight with me. I've already talked about Chris Rock's select special on Netflix that aired Saturday called Selective Outrage. And apparently everybody, and when it comes to these types of things, especially when another celebrity gets called out, this will not end. And apparently even Will Smith, they asked Will Smith to respond, and reportedly Smith is still remorseful about the slap, but he was, I also heard per Entertainment Tonight that they wanted he wants Chris Rock to move on and was upset that Netflix would give him the platform to do this special. On top of that, there are people talking about joke, the first joke that Chris Rock mentioned, and I've talked about it shout out to Nicole because I was on her show. We talked about it. We also, the first joke Chris Rock mentioned out of his mouth or setup was about selective outrage and how, for instance, an example would be you have people that will play Michael Jackson records, but if they play R. Kelly, you play Michael Jackson records, you dance, you play R. Kelly, you get upset. That's selective outrage. Same crime, but one got better songs. That's what Chris Rock did. And Taj Jackson, who has been a guest on this show, and I've only met Taj through Twitter and through here. I've never met him personally in person, but I like to think of Taj as a friend. Taj is a friend of the show. I've been supportive of him and his family, and I'm still supportive. And he obviously did not take it lightly, that joke, if you want to call it that Chris Rock did. And he shared this. He says, quote, Chris Rock has used my family as punching bags for his entire career. Yet I am supposed to feel bad for him getting slapped and humiliated on the Oscars. After seeing a new clip of him attacking my dead uncle in the first minutes of his retaliation, I'm still relevant special. I have three things to say. One, what did my family ever do to you to warrant these decades of harassment and your constant bullying disguised as jokes? Two, just because you were bullied early on in life doesn't give you the excuse to bully others now. And three, thank you, Will Smith. Wow. That was Taj being nice. He's not going to go, if he got his cousin Ziggy, I'm sure Ziggy would go even harder because Ziggy doesn't give a damn. But Taj, he's even told me when he was on here, I have to be nice and stuff, so I won't ever be ugly. But that was his way of going at Chris Rock. Now, other people, of course, supported what he said. There are comedians who obviously support Chris Rock's entire special, especially when he talked about Will Smith and Jada. Others didn't like it. People have called it misogynistic, sexist, and so forth. The other thing, too, I saw Riza Islam even giving his 2 cents on Chris Rock, and especially the video that we all saw going around when he had Ricky Gervais, and this video, of course,
You're singing my nigger. Yes, you are
when he
the
allowed
negative
them to
things we
say
think
the
about
N-word
black people.
word
This
nigger on.
fucker.
You're saying I'm a nigger.
Yes, you are the niggerish fucking white man I have ever.
Oh,
amazing.
I don't think he could do that.
Oh,
What?
I don't think he has those
There's only
qualities.
two.
you,
I love the
I
fact that-
mean,
That I'm
no,
not-
you don't even understand.
Really?
You don't really know him. Like I've worked with him.
No, like your bit
No,
about.
I wouldn't use it anywhere.
No, exactly. These two
We
use
say
that
nigger on stage.
on stage.
You guys don't. That's
Yeah,
that's an
yeah, that's the
interesting two
difference.
teams
That's
here.
the difference between
That's right. That's right. We
can
say
pair
nigger on
up in
stage. You
different
guys
ways,
don't.
but that's definitely a pairing.
So that's
Who
we
says
say-
nigger on stage?
that, but the rest of it. Now, as a comedian myself, I've always will support the First Amendment, the right of stand-up comedians to say and speak their truth. You know, and Reza even was talking about the fact that he felt Chris Rock's being a comedian is one thing, selling out to masses is another. Brother Michael Jackson has passed and was found innocent. So perpetually attacking his character and disrespectfully equating his with R. Kelly's situation shows how tasteless you are. I love comedy, but that simply wasn't factual, nor was it funny. Let our brother rest peacefully. With respect to the craft of comedy, the moment you entered the segment on Will and Jada, it wasn't comedy, it was personal. We understand. However, your emotions clouded your craft and therefore stained the humor, which is why you kept messing up your own jokes. You were too emotional, which made it less funny. As a brother, I think it would be wise to refrain from using your platform to move beyond the rules of retaliation and into the realm of auditioning for masses' attention to prove you're still a loyal house nigga. It's embarrassing. Once you and others push the poison shot onto everyone, none of you have been the same. And he tagged Taj Jackson in it. Okay, now I know Brother RZA too. I've met him. I've actually tried to get him on the show. Let me say this, as I stated before, analyzing that, I have an issue. I don't agree quite with Brother RZA Islam, although I understood what he was trying to say. And let me explain what I mean by that. First and foremost, and I saw shout out to the sister that's on here, Lala Chan Network. The person that gave Chris Rock a platform in all of this wasn't Netflix, it was Will Smith. Will Smith, and I stated before why it was a punk move, got up on that stage and slapped that man and did it over a benign joke. He did it over a benign joke that was even corny himself. Even Chris Rock said it was corny himself. And other comedians I know who even said that. And I know Will Smith wouldn't have gone up on the Oscars if Ricky Gervais had done it and slapped him. That's me personally. I just know that. Now, being that he got assaulted, and I talked about this when I was on Nicole's show, if Will had played it differently and the smart way in getting his revenge after the Oscar, after he went up, when he went up to give his acceptance speech and clown Chris, everybody would have been talking about that. Netflix wouldn't have given Chris Rock $40 million for a special. And Chris Rock played it smart. He waited until he got money. He got a check so he could talk about it. He made it the only way he could because Chris Rock, like he said himself, he's 5'9", Will Smith is 6'2". He wasn't whipping Will Smith. Will Smith also outweighs him about 100 pounds. So he's a real thin guy. And Will Smith is basically all muscle. So that wasn't going to happen. Now, I also stated while I defended Chris Rock's right to free speech, the right to feel the way that he did, it was personal because, yes, he was the one that was assaulted. He has a right, and nobody has a right to tell someone, I believe, their pain about how they were humiliated or how they were hurt. You know, that's something that healing takes time. He got $40 million to do 2 specials for Netflix, Derek. 2 specials, $40 million. This was a live stream comedy special, the first that Netflix did, and they were testing it out because they're getting ready to host the SAG Awards. But having said all of that, just because I support Chris Rock's right to free speech and his right to say, as a comedian, to say what he wants, that does not mean I agreed with everything he said. That doesn't mean there weren't jokes and stuff there I didn't care for. There was some stuff I thought he was doing a little soft shoeing. And when it comes to Michael, I mean, he's not the only comedian, in fairness, to make jokes about Mike, R. Kelly. He even did O.J. Simpson. And I even said, come on, man, this is all 90s stuff. O.J. Simpson was 95. Michael Jackson has been deceased since 2009. And both of them were acquitted on those charges. And if anybody, like I said before, if anybody did any research into it, they would know uh, Michael Jackson and O.J. Simpson were found innocent for a reason. And that was because there was no evidence, number one, in those cases. The witnesses, especially in Michael's case, got dismantled on cross examination. And in regards to OJ, I know for a fact, because it all came out, I remember watching the trial, that evidence was planted. There was tampering at the scene of the crime at OJ Simpson's house with the bloody sock, the glove, and so forth. That was enough to raise reasonable doubt. But there are people who will still say he did it. And Chris Rock is one of those, although I think Chris Rock, yeah, he's trying to stay relevant. He's appeasing those in his audience. I will say this: Chris Rock has a bigger, it's fair to say that Chris Rock has, I think, a larger white following than a black following. I believe that I think that's a fair assessment. Same thing with, I think, even with Dave Chappelle to a degree, although Dave does not necessarily, although yes, he has made remarks on the black community, he doesn't, I guess, attack as black people say, because that's the feeling I got from Harvey and Nicole and others, and even looking at RZA, that he uses the black people as his punching bag. Which, yeah, I've noticed that too. At the same time, as a fellow comedian, comedians talk about what they know. They speak from their cerebral vortex, and they try to get other people to think. It's just like Robin Harris, who's one of my favorite comedians of all time. He would roast the audience. He would one of my favorite comedians. He would do things. His comedy was down home and hood. So yes, comics talk about what they relate to and try and share that with the world and twist it to make it funny. And comedy is always subjective. There are always going to be things you don't like. But what Taj, I understand why Taj feels the way that he does. He's tired of having his uncle's name dragged. I thought myself it was a low blow. Even though I understood the joke, I understood even the O.J. Simpson joke because he was trying to make it bigger, tying it in with the Kardashians. So he set it up like they were going to be cursed, like Robert Kardashian is cursed to have his daughters dating black men. But even of itself, there are people who are going to take exception. Even though I understood and thought it was funny, there are people who are going to take exception. And it's like, oh, so you think being a black man is cursed? There are people who think that. Uh, you're never going to, in this field that I've learned, appeal to everyone. Everyone is not going to like what you say. Everybody's not going to like what the jokes Gavin Richard tells on the stage. I've had people who didn't think some stuff was funny, and that's fine. I can't control everybody. And I'm seeing the sister LaShawn says what Chris Rock did was disrespectful as hell. Oh, I'll put it this, like I say again, I'm not going to say I'm judgmental. I am in terms of stand-up comedians because I respect all comedians and I respect people's right to say what they want. However, I pay attention and I listen carefully, and I consider myself a good and I think a pretty good analyst when it comes to stand-up comedy. And I thought, yes, there were some things looking at it I didn't care for. I mean, look, I didn't care for the abortion joke he did. He talked about how he paid for a lot of abortions, and he wanted his daughters to have the right to do whatever they want with their bodies. What's funny though, and we've talked about abortion before here on this channel. What about the female fetuses that get aborted? Would they say the same thing about that? I try not to, I try not to judge too critically, and this is me when it comes to comedy because I know it's comedy and it's subjective and they're voicing their opinion. I have one of my favorite comedians of all time was George Carlin. And George Carlin, if you remember George Carlin, for those that don't know, George Carlin was a beast when it came to this comedy thing. He made an entire career as a counterculture comedian making fun of religion. He couldn't stand religion. He didn't respect it. He actually had an entire 10-minute set mocking the 10 commandments. And when I was a kid coming up, one thing my mama taught me was that you never disrespected the Lord, God. But he did it. And he made millions of dollars from it and was successful. Don Rickles. I've talked about Don Rickles. Don Rickles would roast an entire audience and make, a lot of it was racial. He did a lot of racial jokes, talking about black people, talking about Jews, talking about Italians, Irish. And took it in humor. But is there a line? People say there's a thin line, there is no thin line when it comes to comedy based off stuff like that. Comedians roast celebrities, do it all the time. At the same time, it depends on, especially with the audience, what the person says. Was it truly funny? What was the motivation behind it? Whether it was disrespectful or a joke. I don't know what it is with. I guess my thinking is Chris Rock just likes Prince better than Michael Jackson. He has made uh, jokes at Michael. I guess he disguises them as jokes, but he's not alone. I've heard Jay Leno's even gone at Michael Jackson harshly, and I thought he was picking on him. I've seen Cat Williams did his first HBO special. He did a long rant talking fucking pump Michael. He did setup. Yeah, he set up the camera. He was, you know, he wasn't doing no damn setup and stuff like it wasn't set up and things like that. And it was real ugly. I laugh, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I've seen other comedians make jokes about Michael. Chris Tucker, of course, used to do "What if Michael Jackson was a pimp?" Slow the car down, Tito. Slow the car down. Bitch, why you want to be starting something? You ain't got my money. You don't want to be starting. So that was funny. And Eddie Griffin, I talk about him. Eddie Griffin did the Michael Jackson on crack routine. That was funny too. And Michael and Eddie became fast friends. Were good friends, and apparently Michael told him that was his favorite joke. Michael Jackson on crack. Anybody that would f their face up like that on purpose got to be on something. And Michael took it in stride. Eddie Murphy, of course, was another one. Uh, Matter of fact, I got a story for y'all, especially I know we have a lot of Michael Jackson, for everyone who's Michael Jackson fan here. The late Paul Mooney, who would do a lot of Michael Jackson, do a lot of jokes. He was known for not holding back anything. He would go in, especially when it comes to this racial situation in America. He cracked jokes at Mike's expense about his appearance, how he didn't. Michael. He's single, white, and 21. Michael, he is that nigga. He is that nigga. He is grinning. He fooled white folks. He banged Elvis's daughter and got his catalog. That nigga is stealing. That nigga is big pimping. He is doing it. He is doing it. Wild. He's doing it. He was the spook that sat at the door. Well, Mooney, long story short, Paul Mooney actually got a phone call from Michael Jackson, and he did this interview. He talked about it on radio where he thought it was Eddie Murphy calling him, pranking him, and it wasn't. And he said, "No, it's not me." And what happened was, I think he got his money from his phone number from Eddie Murphy, and Michael called Paul Mooney to get him to stop making jokes about the vitiligo, about his skin color, because you're going around, you're going around saying I want to be, don't want to be black, and look, I just want to give you money to stop because it's not true, and this is not true. This is crazy. This is ridiculous, and that's Michael's place. And Mooney was like, "Well, I don't tell you what songs to sing, Michael. Don't tell me what jokes I can do." Now, and that's how it ended. But Paul, while he made jokes at Mike's expense, there were times even during his sets where he defended, and you can listen to it. He defended Michael Jackson because he said he didn't believe he did all of that. He says, if Michael got to go to jail, then those parents got to go to jail too because you pimped those kids off. But Michael ain't did that. Michael ain't did that. So so it is possible you can make jokes and then still not be I guess if you would say disrespectful like he did. I, personally, like I said, I try not to be judgmental with comedians and what they say because as a comic myself, I've say things. There may be somebody in the audience, and I have understanding of this, who don't like what I say. I mean, there are people, if I did a joke about uh, exploding puppies, there may be people from PETA in the audience that's going to take issue with what I say. At the flip side of it, and as a black man, I'm looking at it, like I said, with Chris Rock, yeah, there are sometimes I look at the special, I looked at some of the things he says. I didn't go back and rewatch it or anything like that. But I get where everyone is speaking about why people feel the way that they do. And my man Harvey Superboy, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm gonna say it in Harvey's voice. Chris loves talking crap about Mike and his family. He wrong. He wrong. He just cool. He a cool. I'm gonna just say it right there. That special, that was cool. That's Harvey's voice. But yeah, he does. He likes talk. Yeah, Chris does talk about the Jackson family a lot. Yeah, I noticed that. No, and I don't blame. Like I said, I don't blame Taj either. He was defending his uncle, and yeah, you keep going. My thing is, the man is deceased. I'm not saying you can't make jokes about dead celebrities or anything like that. I've seen sketches where they've done stuff on them. Uh, and look, I've laughed at even though I'm friends with Taj, I've laughed at that Eddie Griffin joke. I would tell him flat out if I saw Taj, I watched In Living Color and that sketch that they did with David Allen Greer playing his grandfather, playing Joe Jackson. Come on, boy, bring it behind. I locking up Latoya in the chamber. You better hurry. Out at the Never Never Land sale. Better hurry. 20 minutes of oxygen is all Latoya got left from writing all them damn books. Now I laughed my ass off. Still, I laughed then. I laughed now. It was funny at that time because remember Latoya and the Jacksons and Jackson family, they were estranged, and she went off and married that her manager who used to uh manipulate her and do all kinds of crap. I think he was violent to her, beat her up. So, but the thing was, and at that time, she was saying stuff about her own brother, about Mike, believing the kids. But she came out, of course, years later. They reconciled. She said she was really coerced to say that stuff, and she has defended her brother. You know, you know, and it's not uncommon. Let me just say this too, because they are celebrities. The Jackson family are celebrities. People will make fun of you because you're a celebrity. That's part of the business. Just like they make fun of they did sketches, they've done jokes about Kennedy assassination, about not Kennedy assassination, excuse me, but the Kennedy family, Ronald Reagan. They've done, they did a whole movie, it's not a movie, excuse me. Comedy Central had a whole TV show called "That's My Bush," making fun of the Bush administration. Uh, so that's gonna happen. It's not uncommon that you make fun of celebrities, and some people may take it as being disrespectful. Even the slightest joke that you wouldn't think. I, as a comedian, am not going to judge that. Judge you, I can't and I will not calibrate. Let me rephrase that. I'm not calibrating my humor based off how whether the audience gonna feel this or not. I'm just gonna say what I say. If it's funny, hopefully you laugh. If it's not funny, that's the worst thing you can do to a comedian is not laugh at it. But a lot of people felt that Chris Rock's special was disrespectful to black people. Even Willie D looked at the special and said it was an affront because he was making jokes not just about Michael, but also about the emancipation joke, about slavery. I'll just look at it like I'll just put it this way, guys. If you're gonna make a joke about something as horrific as slavery or lynching or anything like that, it better make sense and it better be funny. Me personally, I don't have any jokes about lynching. I don't think it's funny, or slavery. Just depending on what. I'll take it. It depends on what it is. Because I have seen Ted Carpenter, who was on Def Comedy Jam back in the '90s, did a joke about like what if Mike Tyson or Richard Pryor was slaves, and it was funny as hell the way he did it. He was basically doing an impression of them. So I didn't get offended by it. I laughed my butt off. Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, she went on Mad TV and she spoofed. But the thing was, she went on Mad TV where they were making fun of the Jackson family, and she beat up Pat Kilbane, who was playing Jay Leno, who was making jokes, and then they had other actors and actresses come out as her brothers and sister, respectively. I think Phil Lamar and Ari Spears played Michael and Tito, and they had Deborah Wilson playing Janet, and they beat up Jay Leno. So she took fun with it. And my understanding, she used to hang out with. I saw a big video of her once. She was hanging out with Eddie Griffin. So I mean, they used to. I don't think Mike didn't take some stuff. Some comedians who made fun of him, he didn't take to heart. Something just depending on what it was, I guess. But Chris Rock, does he have a history of being disrespectful? Was it disrespectful what he did to Mike? I thought it was tasteless. Let's put it that way. I didn't care for it. I didn't care for it. I didn't necessarily care for the OJ joke. I wasn't big on the abortion thing. As a comic, though, in that vacuum, it was brilliant. His set was brilliant, but at the same time, there was some soft shoeing. I thought some stuff. That's why I gave it a B minus. I thought his specials he's done in the '90s were even far better. But tying this all in with Taj, and I hope Taj is watching. Shout out to him. He has every right to feel the way he feels. Just like I said, Chris Rock has a right to express himself. There are other people. Well, others have a right to express themselves as well and feel the way that they do. And Taj, took exception to the way that Chris Rock talked about his uncle. And unfortunately, let me just say this: just like with comedy, where there are going to be people that take offense to your jokes, there are people who are always going to be believe, and even in terms of law, since I'm an attorney, that if you're acquitted, that still doesn't mean you're innocent. You can be acquitted, and still people will think you did it. You're guilty. Michael Jackson's going through it, but O.J. Simpson is doing it as well. Yes, I do remember we made fun of Jude Law. In fact, he got confronted by Sean Penn about that. Sean Penn confronted Chris Rock, and no, Chris Rock. I mean, he's made joke. Well, I'm not going to say. Let's not say that he doesn't make jokes about white Hollywood actors. I've seen him. He has done it. He just doesn't do it, I guess, enough. I think is the best way of putting it. He has his limits with some certain group of people, but not others. Let's just put it that way. That's Todd's. I'm. It'd have been cool if Todd put that tweet out with this picture here. Hey, I remember I voted. By the way, thank you for slapping the shit out of Chris Rock, Will. I mean, he did make jokes. Look, he made jokes about Elon Musk and his sperm, but I guess the way he makes jokes about it, it wasn't coming off as a negative, if you want to say that much. So that was my analysis of it. When he made jokes regarding black folks, people take it, and I mean, well, I'm not gonna say people take it, but the way it sounds is that it's in a negative. I guess it's the way to say it. Paul Mooney made jokes about black people, but he also cracked on white folks. Same thing with Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor did jokes that made that made white people uncomfortable. And how he could read a room. When he did not live on Sunset Strip, but Richard Pryor live in concert that he shot, I think, out in was it in Long Beach? Chris Black jokes hit different than when he speaks about white. And that's just what it is. He wrong. I could just hear you. I could just hear you typing, Harvey. He wrong. No, Black jokes hit different than when he speaks about white. Yeah. Let me just say this in closing too. I'm about to wrap it up. I said I wasn't going to be long, but even when I watch Dave Chappelle's specials, thank you, talking to Grubber. Yeah, and that special, I would play it part of it, but it's on Netflix too. But remember when Richard Pryor did that special, and he was like, "It's funny when white people come back from intermission and find out niggas that took the seats." No, we were sitting here. You ain't sitting here now, motherfucker. And police got that chokehold where they just get something just once and just well, a nigga was like that, Bob. I he I don't want to see no more police in my life taking my black ass to jail for killing my car. Cause I shot my wife's car up and the police came. And that's when I went back into the house. Because they don't kill cars. They kill niggas. That's just classic. My wife's car and that I shot up my wife and my wife was gonna leave me. I said, not in this rate. And I had one of them big 357 Magnums and it went boom and the car went, oh. And then the alcohol told me, do it again. So I went up to my wife's car and shot it again. And the sound's so good, I did it again. Boom! Whoa! He shot up the tire. Yeah, I do them all. I do all the impressions, you know. Yeah, Michael. Indian would say, fuck it. Boom. Yeah. I mean, so yeah, does he do different? Is it different when it's black and white with Chris? I've noticed. Yeah, but there's a way we combat that. And we can do that by number one, if we are offended, if you are easy, like I said before, if you're easily offended by a person you don't like, if you think the jokes are gonna go negative, the best thing to do is to not watch it. Because even with us talking about Chris Rock and the special, it's still gonna be up on Netflix, and more people, especially since we discuss it, are gonna be inclined to go see it. And like I said again, I probably it wasn't his best, as an analyst myself, it was not his best special. His HBO specials I thought were better. The hype over the special was because Will Smith, the Will Smith, Jada Pinkett Smith Oscar slap. Well, Will Smith slapping Chris Rock, I should say, but Jada's tied into that as well. And yes, he got, and I'm gonna say this, yes, did Chris Rock get personal? Yeah, because he had a personal he got slapped. He had a personal encounter based off of this. So does he have a right to feel the way that he did about it? Yeah. Does he have a right to express himself the way he did? Yeah. And like I said earlier, if Will Smith doesn't do this and handles it a different way, Chris Rock doesn't get paid $40 million just to do an hour's work. 20 million, excuse me. He made 20 million on this special and he's going to make 20 million on the next special. I don't know when is that going to come. Like I said before, the reason why people are talking about, well, he waited so long. And I've said this before, well, that is his right because he was assaulted. And part of the reason he waited so long was because he number one, wanted this special he wanted to get paid. And he had to work out his material because comedians, when we're working out material, you can't just people think it's easy to do stand up. It's not. It is not easy to write a joke. It's just like writing a song. Sometimes songwriters can take 45 minutes to write a song, 6 minutes, 10 minutes, depending on how long the song is, if they have everything worked out correctly, or it can take 5 years or 3 years or whatever. It happens. But this is why playing it cool works out. This is what Kevin Samuels was talking about on his special when he mentioned this stuff. When he said he would let it ride, and when I won my Oscar, I would shame Chris Rock to make him look like an idiot because now Chris Rock got the last word and the bag. And Chris Rock, as a comedian, this is why they tell you never heckle the host because the comedian gets the mic last. That's what happened here. And his career essentially, I think it's safe to say, got revitalized. Although Chris Rock, I'm not going to say he was doing bad. He was doing very good for himself. He was doing good, but I mean, for himself, he was still acting. He did Fargo and the Spiral movie, and he was still doing stand up. But now, you know, you got a $40 million special. What's he gonna do doing are there movies that are gonna be lined up? I'm pretty sure this sadly is gonna, and Capone was saying this, and I agree with him. This is gonna be a part of Black history. This is what the video they're gonna show. It's two black men acting a black man slapping another black man on white people showcase. and we look like some damn idiots. Unfortunately, that's what they're going to make that out to be. But as I said, as it relates to now relating it to my final thoughts relating it to Taj Jackson versus Chris Rock, I'm always gonna support I'm always gonna support, like I said, the First Amendment and it's the art of stand-up comedy and comedians' rights to express themselves. I'm also gonna defend my friends and stand by them, and I consider Taj to be a friend. And he has a right, just like Chris Rock has a right to express himself, so do others. And Taj has a right uh, to defend his uncle, his family. He's upset, obviously, about the jokes that have been leveled at his family's expense, particularly at Michael, and equating him with as being saying he's a pedophile when he was acquitted. And I think it's wrong for people to label him like that. Uh, like I said before, but we have people, unfortunately, that believe that. And the best thing you can do do by what you're doing is speaking the truth, getting your truth out. Brother Todd, you said you got a documentary that you're working on your uncle. Put that out. Now that the attention is on you and versus Chris Rock, get your documentary out. Just like Chris Rock got the bag, get your money. I don't know what they're paying, but please get the bag here. Do the documentary on Mike. We want to see it. I want to see what it's like. I want to see what it's about. I want you to hit the counterpoints. I've had Michael's lawyer on here, Tom Mesereau, who's a good friend. I love to see what your documentary is for. So now the attention's on you. People will watch it, and you know what? They watch it, and you put out facts with it. Then they're gonna be like, man, what the fuck Chris Rock was talking about? It wasn't in humor and all this stuff. So that's the way you combat it. Keep doing what you're doing. Ignore these trolls that coming at you, brother Taj. And another way we could do things to, you have other comedians who might make jokes on Michael, but also be defensive of him. Like I said, Mooney's done it and Eddie Griffin has done it. That stand by him. Chris Tucker. I'll support that. I support that. But you know who your uncle was, you know your family. Don't let these trolls bother you, man. So so Taj has a right, Chris Rock has a right to express himself, but so do others. I support that too. First Amendment works both ways. But it's going to be interesting what happens. I'm sure this is going to still be fodder for late night talk shows and for Entertainment Tonight and Inside Edition. We'll see what happens, but yeah, I get you. I get where Todd is coming from. So I'm gonna get off now, guys, because I gotta get up in the morning. But that was just my 2 cents. I wanted to talk about it because Todd is. Yeah, he did. I mean, and Eddie did Michael Jackson on crack. Like I said, Eddie used to crack jokes about Michael's skin color too, and he was on Malcolm and Eddie, and he disguised himself as Prince. And he said, he was fair skinned. He had the makeup and everything, all the stuff with Prince. He's like, and when he took his shirt off, it was dark. He said, "That's not Prince, that's a fake." And he said, "Look, I'm just rediscovering my root. Michael Jackson lightened himself so he could be white. Now I'm darkening myself. I want to know where I'm rediscovering my root." I laughed at it. But and Mike probably laughed at it too. He might have said, I'm not trying to be white, and I'm really tired of you all saying this crap. It's garbage. It's crazy. It's insane. He probably did. But I mean, Eddie Griffin came to his trial, his arraignment, by the way. He went up there with Catherine Jackson and Joe and all of them, and they were in a limo together. Would I see Chris? Was Chris Rock gonna be there? Hell no. But all right, fam, I'm gonna wrap it up because I gotta get out of here. But good Lord, I don't want Taj mad at me. I don't need another damn Jack. I don't need another musician coming at me. They gonna slap me. They gonna dance over me. They gonna dance me to death. Good Lord. All right, y'all. But look, smash up the likes, ladies and gentlemen, so you know when we go live. This was my 2 cents on Taj versus Chris. Although Chris has not commented, it's safe to say he's not commenting in response to what Taj or has stated. As I stated earlier, I showed Brother Reza Islam and his response. And support Taj. Go to his Twitter page, Taj Jackson 3. That's obviously a reference to him being the oldest of 3 children to Tito Jackson and Dee Dee Jackson, his late mother. So I'm gonna stand by my friend Taj. I understand, buddy. We love you, Taj, if you're listening. So, all right, y'all, gotta get on up on iTunes. We're gonna get on out of here. Please donate to the Cash App, PayPal, Zelle. Brother Harvey, it's always good to see you. I'll do another live stream with Sean. We're gonna talk about this. I'm sure we're gonna talk more about this. But that was the only thing I want to talk about, and that's it. And I went over an hour. Dang it! I said I wasn't. Well, y'all know me. I should be a good pastor. Them pastors always say, "I'm not gonna keep you long, church." We know what that really means. We're gonna be there forever. Good night, family.
Girl, come on. Gotta dance to the beat, because on the dance floor is where we'll be. Show me what you got. Gotta feel the groove.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the.
Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do. But once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really moving. Time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the.
Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. Put on earth, wind, and fire. Tonight we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the 4 corners. Electric slide or 2. Hit the bus stop, I'll do the bunny hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really grooving. Time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the.
Now, 2020 hasn't been the best year of all times. We've been dealing with death, the pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you breathe and you achieve. And so, if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll meet.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up
And move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor.
Get on up, baby. Yeah, gotta get on up. Come on, baby, gotta get on up, baby.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.